That's the Way, an original fairy tale by Barbie Sommars. Once upon a time, in a meadow so grand, shaded by wise oaks that watched over the land, there lived two young bunnies, hearts light and free. They were the best of friends, as close could be. They loved singing and playing games at their secret spot, over the hills and far away, beyond the forest where the twitters once twat. They called this place Wonder Valley. Wonder Valley was full of enchantment, with clean bubbling hot springs where the bunnies splashed and played for hours. The wind carried whispers of forgotten songs, and colors no bunny had names for bloomed in the flowers. Their favorite game to play was cloud theater. They'd lay on their backs, their joy growing sweeter. Imaginations ran wild as stories were spun. "There's a dragon," said Peter. "There's a fairy," said Penelope. "That's my favorite one." One day, the bunnies were served very different meals, but something felt off, as both lacked appeal. Penelope's parents served a blue, wordy salad, full of words, but its meaning was invalid. Peter sipped on a red fizzy brew. It made him feel lively, but the energy flew. Both meals were flashy, but neither could last, leaving them hungry and empty too fast. Long ago, when the meadow was free, its meals were untouched by the shadow of greed. The red and blue recipes had been passed down with care, yet masked the harm, leaving meals stripped and bare. Something strange began to unfold. Peter's fur turned from brown to a vivid red so bold. Penelope's fur went from gray to bright blue. They weren't sure what to make of these new hues. However, when their mothers heard the news, each privately said with dismay, "Now we know the true colors of their family, and no more shall you play. That's the way of the meadow, and that's the way it will stay." The next day, Penelope sang to Peter, "I don't know how I'm gonna tell you. I can't play with you no more. I don't know how I'm gonna do what Mama told me. My friend, the boy next door." And Peter sang, "I can't believe what Mama's saying. You're gonna let your hair be blue. She says your family's views are altogether wrong, and that's why I can't play with you." The bunnies dutifully followed their mother's rules, but as the days passed, both Peter and Penelope felt a growing sadness they couldn't ignore. Peter often stared at the Kellogg River, feeling the red in his fur burn like anger he didn't understand. The river's waters were cloudy and lifeless, with fish floating on the surface. He wondered if he'd ever feel calm again. Penelope's coat felt cold, distant, as if it didn't belong to her. She sat alone beneath the tall oaks. Legend had it, they once spoke. Years ago, in days of old, when magic filled the air, now there's silence and a quiet weight of despair. She watched the leaves in rhythmic play and thought to herself, Why is this the way?" Peter broke the silence and sang, "When I'm out, I see you hopping. Why don't your eyes see me? Or could it be you found another game to play? What did Mama say to me? That's the way, oh, that's the way it ought to be. That's the way it ought to stay." Penelope looked at him and said, "Maybe it doesn't have to be that way." And so they agreed to meet in their secret spot, over the hills and far away, beyond the forest where the twitters once twat. As the bunnies sat on the edge of the spring, they exchanged stories and confessed they had secretly been spying on one another. Penelope began to sing. "Yesterday I saw you standing by the river, and weren't those tears that filled your eyes? And all the fish that lay in dirty water dying, had they got you hypnotized?" Peter responded, "Yesterday I saw you kissing tiny flowers, but all that lives is born to die. And so I say to you that nothing really matters, and all you do is stand and cry." Peter wiped the tears from her cheek, and in that moment neither could speak. Penelope blushed, her heart at play. She breathily whispered, "Lead the way." Just then a rainbow appeared. But it wasn't just any rainbow. It danced across the sky, and as it touched the ground, the air filled with the scent of fresh rain and the hum of a familiar sound. The fairies arrived, their glow so bright, each a color, a beacon of light. With wings like glass, they shimmered with grace, bringing hope and love to this sacred place. Peter and Penelope leapt to their feet, their hearts pounding with an eager beat. "Come with us," Penelope cried, her voice carrying hope to heal the divide. The fairies followed the bunnies away from the secret spot, over the hills and far away, beyond the forest where the twitters once twat. When they reached the meadow and saw the river's plight, the fairies paused, their hearts turned tight. "This must be made right," the blue fairy decreed, "for wisdom commands we plant a new seed." And no sooner than a flutter's sway, the green fairy of growth had this to say: "Life begins in the soil, and healing starts here. With a sprinkle of magic, the river runs clear." "This is the crystal river as it was meant to be," said the red fairy of justice, "a source of life, not misery. It's time to call it by its true name once more, a place of beauty, as it was before." Just then, a deep groaning sound echoed. The bunnies turned towards the oaks, so tall and strong, awakening from a slumber a century long. Slowly the faces emerged from the bark, weathered and wise. The bunnies gasped in awe of seeing legends come to rise. The largest tree spoke, its voice a deep vibrating growl, silenced since the Kellogg giant turned the waters foul. "I am Tauron, it is me. I identify as a tree. Long ago the forest echoed with laughter. Does anybody remember laughter?" "Ha ha 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 ha!" He broke out in song. "Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, you're going to want the full spectrum. Red and blue are not meant to divide. They are pieces of a greater whole. United, you can thrive." The fairies stepped forward, their wings catching light, each with a seed in their hands, glowing and bright. The purple fairy of unity said, "Plant them with care, tend them with heart, and they'll grow you a future, a wholesome fresh start." And then the tree by the brook, her silence broke. A voice long lost in whispers spoke. "I am Vanna, warden of the wood wide web." Her leaves gently rustled as she bowed her head. "You have endured much, little ones, it's true, And now with these gifts the land heals with you. As the bunnies shared a colorful salad the fairies had grown, they experienced a feast for the senses like they'd never known. Sweet berries, crisp greens, and earthy roots that hummed with life. Each bite brought warmth to their hearts and calm to their minds. After the meal, a melody soared, a hum from the oaks, a tune they adored, deep and resonant, a heartbeat in sound. The bunnies joined in, their voices profound. Soft and pure the harmony grew. Even the fairies sang, their joy shining through. Like a wind that carried hope far and wide, a song of unity, love as their guide. Tauron bellowed, "Remember this harmony when voices sing free. This is the way it ought to be." As the celebration continued, Peter drew Penelope near, a quiet moment for just them to hear. They looked into each other's eyes, rubbed noses under twilight skies, and in that moment, something grew, a love beyond friendship, strong and true. And so, the meadow thrived once more. Under the oaks, its heart was restored. The bunnies vowed to keep it this way, a song of love and life each and every day. The end.